So, Alien RPG is a pool-based dice system. And what that means is that you're not going to roll one dice, you're going to roll quite a lot of dice trying to get a specific set of numbers. You're going to need probably somewhere between 8 to 10 dice of one color and 8 to 10 dice of another color. And these are going to need to be D6s, as we call them, or six-sided dice. You will be rolling them in different quantities according to the situation, and your GM will guide you, at least initially, while you get used to the game. Now, in terms of what you actually have to do with that, how is it worked out? Well, in your character sheet, you will have skills and attributes. A skill is based on an attribute, and there'll be a number assigned to both of those. Sometimes there will be you will have no number assigned to the skill. This means you don't have any trained skill in it, but you can still use the attribute that it's based on. Essentially, the number of dice that you roll is those two numbers added together. So the skill plus the attribute gives you the number of dice you're going to roll. In this game, you want those dice to all be one color, and you're going to roll and you want to get sixes. Another mechanic in this game, which is fantastic, is panic and stress. As the game progresses, you will get more stressed. Your character will undergo some terrifying ordeals. So as a result, their stress levels will build up. And at the same time as you're rolling your skill dice, you're going to roll some stress dice. You'll start at 0 stress, and then as the game progresses, your stress level will increase, and for each level, you get a stress dice. Initially, this is really useful because you're going to roll these at the same time as you roll the other dice, and a 6 in these ones counts as a success as well. So a little bit of stress helps you to work a little bit better and focuses your mind. However, as the game progresses and stress levels increase, it becomes a little bit detrimental to have stress dice and be rolling a lot of them. Because if you roll a 1 on those dice, and that's the reason why you need the different colors, if you roll a 1 on those dice, you then undertake a panic dice. And as your stress levels get higher, the consequences of that panic roll can be very, very, very scary. We'll have a whole video on stress, so don't panic. See the pun? Sorry. There are ways to modify your roll. Okay, there are ways to make it work better for you. The first is to push it. Now, pushing it means effectively you re-roll it. Seems like a no-brainer, but there is a cost. So you don't get any 6s, or maybe you're in a combat situation where you want a lot of 6s. You can re-roll anything that isn't a 6, but you can only do it once for each check, and when you do it, you increase your stress level by 1. So it's a way that your stress level can start to really get going. Maybe not the best ideas for later on in the game. Some skills or some talents, which is another thing that your character will have, allow you to do 2 pushes in specific circumstances. But they still cause stress. They still increase your stress level, so be careful. There is a cost, and it might be a significant one. Other things that can modify your roll and improve your chances of getting those crucial 6s by adding dice. One of them is gear. Now, gear is things like cutting torches and med kits and stuff like that. And they will add between 1 and 3 dice to your pool, depending on the nature of the equipment. And they can be really useful. Be careful, because some equipment can only be used once, or has got a finite resource, or can break. It can effectively run out of juice. So you've got a limited supply of power. Sorry, not break, but you get a limited supply of power. The task itself will also give you dice sometimes, or it may take them away. So for example, if you're rolling a very easy task, a trivial task, but you still have to roll it, you get 3 extra dice. But if you're rolling something that is really hard, you will lose 3 dice. So the number of dice is a little bit more fluid, and your GM will guide you along those ways and say, this is a really hard task, you need to take 2 dice off your pool. And they've got to be the skill dice, not the stress dice, I'm afraid. On top of all that, so long as it can be justified and explained within the arc of the story, other players can help you. And for each player that helps, there is 1 extra dice added to the pool. Now, for me, I normally get the other player to roll that dice because it just gives them something else to do. It involves them a bit more in it. And it's only 1 dice, but it might help. That's got a limit of 3, and crucially, they have to be able to justify it within the story itself. I hope that's made sense. So essentially, just to summarize, number 1, it's skill plus attribute dice is 1 pool, and then the other pool is your stress level. Stress can be beneficial at the start, but you don't want it to build up too high, because then there can be a whole hoo-ha about it. The other thing that can modify the dice is the difficulty of the task, which can make it easier, so you get more dice, or harder. If it's a harder task, you get less dice. You can push dice, but you can only push them once for each check, unless there's specific circumstances, and it always increases stress levels by 1 doing that. Gear can also increase your chance, but it may be finite. Make sure you know. And finally, people can help you. And by doing so, 1 extra dice is added, but they have to be able to explain how they do it in the game. I hope that's been helpful. Enjoy. It's a brilliant game. You'll love it. If this has been helpful, we're going to be doing a few more of these really basic beginner's guides. And if you don't want to miss them, the easiest way to keep track of them is to subscribe to the channel. Please feel free to like, share, and comment. And we have some merchandise like this shirt, hoodie that I'm wearing, hoodie that I'm wearing, that is available on the website that's mentioned in the description. They do t-shirts and stuff as well, and it just helps to. The stuff that we buy, the stuff that you see reviewed and used, is stuff that is bought out of my own pocket. So it's quite nice whenever people do that. Okay, have a lovely day, and bye. See you next time.